Like, what's the personal fear that you overcome that you made you a stronger person? Like, what is some personal fear that you had it and you did overcome it, and now you're super strong? And what is
Fear,
something like
yeah, simple. Fear of rejection. And when I was hired in the position of a retention salesperson, you no longer have a fear of rejection. Well, I woke up each and every day, and my outlook was dealing with very, very upset customers. That was it. That was my job. What do you get to do today? Meet a lot of pissed off people. Wow, looks good. Let's go. Let's go. Good.
And you overcame it how? And how did you overcome it?
Meeting with them and dealing with listening. Number one was listening to how can we make this better?
What is that one lesson you want to share with the future generation?
Yeah, it's very, very basic, and it's the old chicken soup for the soul. Don't sweat the small stuff. It's all small stuff. It's very simple, but it's very, very true. When I was 30 to 40, things bothered me. I wanted to please people, and you've all read it. When I was 40 to 50, I thought I should be there. And when I'm now that I'm plus 50, I really don't care. I think I've already reached these points where it's like, now it's just do it. Right?
I get it. Yeah.
And I did. Right? Outlook or anticipation for the future than there is now. And I don't think it's industry specific. I think what's happened is it's empowered people to just take what you do and run with it. Right? Like they didn't spiral a football at you. They handed it off to you and said, take this thing and go. And I think there's never been a better time in history. I'm 52 years old, and I don't know that there's been a better time in that 52 years.
You don't do this at all.
This is like the oil strike. Like, you've hit oil and it's flying all over. So if you happen to not make it, unfortunately, that might be on you.
In a world filled with possibilities, one truth stands out. Everyone is a pathfinder in their own journey. Whether it's charting new territories in leadership, embracing the future with technology, or nurturing humanity, pathfinders are everywhere. Pathfinders, a platform built for everyone. We believe in the power of connection, the spark of curiosity, and the potential to inspire. Here we bring people together, not just as professionals, but as dreamers, thinkers, and change makers. Through engaging podcasts, thought-provoking digital conferences, and dynamic audio roundtables, and many more, we create spaces for meaningful conversations. We celebrate those who seek to understand, innovate, and lead. People like you. Pathfinders inspires. Pathfinders embraces technology. And above all, Pathfinders spreads a vision where leadership, innovation, and humanity converge to shape a better and brighter future. We are here to connect, to build bridges that transcend barriers, to share stories that matter, and to foster a community driven by passion and purpose. Be a part of this journey. Be a Pathfinder. Welcome to Pathfinders. Hey everyone, welcome to the Pathfinders podcast. Today, we have the honor of hosting Colin Harms, a man who has transformed the business landscape with his blue sky thinking. As a visionary of hypervac technologies, Colin has not only revolutionized duct cleaning, but has also instilled a culture of boundless creativity and fearless ambition in every venture he touches. From his roots as a realtor in Lethbridge, Alberta, where he honed his skills in understanding people and markets, to becoming a serial entrepreneur. Colin's story is one of relentless pursuit of excellence. Recognized for his forward-thinking approach, he has been a guest on the Business Development Podcast with Kelly Kennedy, where he shared insights that have not only shaped his companies, but have inspired countless others to look beyond the horizon. With a spirit that embraces challenges and turns them into opportunities, Colin Harms embodies the essence of a leader who sees potential where others see obstacles. His philosophy of maintaining a positive outlook, setting ambitious goals, and fostering a culture of innovation has made him a beacon for those daring to dream big. Colin, it's an absolute pleasure to have you with us today. And before we get started with our podcast today, I'd like to also welcome our co-host, Bryan Hayes, the founder of ElevateX Sales, who emphasizes on the importance of empathy in sales. He's joining us today from Dallas. That said, welcome everyone. Looking forward to our chat today. Colin, I'm so looking forward to it. I appreciate you joining us today. Please share a little bit more about yourself in your own words, please.
Sure. Thanks for having me first and foremost. I appreciate being asked to be a guest on the show. And I enjoyed, we chatted a week ago or so, and I really enjoyed getting to know the two of you and a little more intimately, I guess. A little bit more about me. Yeah, I think you nailed it. I can't take the line from Bryan is the sales guy. And Bryan, I've been stealing that for the last week since I talked to you.
Good. Good. You can have it. You're the sales guy version 2.0.
I'll send you some royalties after the show. Yeah, but I think what makes up Colin Harms is I think I was born with it. Blue sky thinking from the womb to here I am today is just live a positive life. That's who I am. I see everything as all blue sky, and I think it's an important attribute to have. And I really try to impart that into others as well, the people I meet and the people I talk to. I think having an opportunistic mindset is important to winning our day. And I can give you an example if you want, is just because my one business, we do about 85% export into the US. So yesterday with the inauguration and what happened shortly after was fantastic. I was in a great mood. I said, this is fantastic. They're just going to pause everything with the tariffs. And we'll do this as a negotiation. And I was texting people and telling them how great of a day it is. And about a half hour later, I said, this is the shittiest day I've ever had.
There you go.
He said, February 2nd, it should have said 2026, not 2025. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And I've played cards before, so I'll just say I'm going to call the bluff here. And I think we've got time on our side, and calmer heads will prevail.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. I just have an opening question, Bryan. Feel free to take it up from there. Like, I just have a question. Like, yesterday was Jan 20th, the inauguration. The 47th president of the U.S., Donald Trump, in his inauguration speech, he said, "The future is ours, and the golden age has just begun." What are your comments on that?
Is that to Bryan or to me?
To you.
Oh, to me.
Bryan, I think we will take turns. How about that? Like, Colin, you go first. Like,
I don't speak with a lot of profanity, so I'm not going to now. There's an old adage that says, just give me one more boom and I won't F it up. I think that's the age we entered yesterday at about noon. I think if people screw it up or I almost find it, I know that's not just blue sky thinking. I don't know how you can screw it up. There's never been a better outlook or anticipation for the future than there is now. And I don't think it's industry specific. I think what's happened is it's empowered people to just take what you do and run with it, right? Like they didn't spiral a football at you. They handed it off to you and said, take this thing and go.
Wow.
And I think there's never been a better time in history. I'm 52 years old, and I don't know that there's been a better time in that 52 years.
you don't look 52 at all.
This is like the oil strike. Like, you've hit oil and it's flying all over. So if you happen to not make it, unfortunately, that might be on you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Blue sky.
And that's coming from north of the border. I see, hopefully our politicians follow the same suit, whether they want to or not. They might have to. It's going to be a good thing. But But as far as an outlook for the future, like for 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 4 years, I just don't know, economically speaking, how things can go wrong.
Right. Right. Yeah. There's a chance. Like, come on, grab it. Go grab it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's, when they're giving settlers land, and the the one guy took a lot of it, and the other guy says, I'm not so sure, it's a little risky. Guess who won?
Whoops. The one that's at the risk. Well, it's called the moonshot. Well, actually, we can't call it the moonshot anymore. It's the Mars shot. Like he this baseball bat that we're going to the moon. We're going to Mars. So that's blue sky.
And you look at when Elon was on stage, and what was in his face.
He was cheering. Yeah.
He was cheering it, and I think he was in shock a little bit, because I mean, who thinks like him? Nobody. I don't think my mind has expanded quite that far. But you could see it in his face, like he's like, this is real. We're gonna put a man on Mars, right?
Yeah.
And you could see it in his face.
Like he was deep. I could see that. Yeah, I saw the entire inauguration. He was deep. He was constantly thinking something. He was there, but he was not there. Yeah, he was thinking. Yeah, deep.
And you know what? I think things change when. What I love about what's happening right now is the people that are in I don't want to call power, but they're in the position of power. They don't need the money, right? It's not a money play. They're not in. It's not It's not like, oh, I'm going to get a great pension out of this, or 401k, like you've seen in the past. Yeah. This is about people who they don't need that. They don't need a paycheck. They don't need comfort, right? They've created their comfort, and they're very, very comfortable being uncomfortable, if you will.
Yeah. Right. Right.
I would say it's a slight bit lazy. They're just like, we're just going to do business as usual. This is out of the box, blue sky thinking. What is absolutely possible?
Well, and you know what, Brian? Like, it's interesting you say that, because, in an everyday problem, somebody could be facing something today, just a work thing or a staff thing or whatever it may be, some obstacle, and it's real. But on the other hand, this guy's putting somebody on Mars.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Like, so in my realm of blue sky thinking, there's not a real estate transaction that's too complex that can't be handled, right? There's not a business play in my businesses that can't, whether it's a tariff or whatever it may be, right? There's a button in every 4x4 vehicle, shift on the fly. Guess what? Hit the effing button. Just shift on the fly, right? Figure it out, right? Like it's really not that complicated. Do I wake up in the middle of the night and wonder, how's this all going to work? Absolutely. But I would rather be awoken in the middle of the night and worrying about things that matter, right? Than sleep straight through and just live this boring, dismal life and be boxed up and buried, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're on the right podcast. Pathfinders, right? We're just gonna find it. What legs in the trail? We're gonna figure it out as we go. I
just like to take your life a little bit back, Colin. I don't think every day we sit and think like what happened. I think when you're in conversations like this, I think you get to at least like probably think or cherish a little bit. We'll see what happens with that. But I'm sure like there's a lot of like, I think, learning and then lessons learned, failures and like triumphs. Like, I'm sure, where did all that come from? How was your like early days growing up, Colin? Please walk us through your journey, because I think the journey is what is most fascinating when we try to learn from anyone. I think I'd love to learn your journey. What was early ages growing up like?
Yeah, so I'll just quickly, like it is, no formal education. I grew up in a family that didn't have that, didn't come from that. I always joke, what we call in Canada, I didn't know what post-secondary education was because nobody told me. There was no leaving high school and saying, my parents weren't saying, so what are you going to do? Where are you going to go to school? It was just basically, you're just going to work more. Right. Fortunately, for me that worked, and I was working in the hospitality industry, and I my first boss, I really liked the guy, and I watched him. He had a 8th grade education, but he had built up a mass in hospitality of 11 restaurants. And so I never knew any different. Like, those are the people that I followed and watched, and, you know, he just, here's the steps you take. And I believe he believed in me. So I started believing in people. And so I went from in the hospitality industry to, I was managing a restaurant, and an opportunity came up in sales. And this is where it all began. Where one of our salesmen that visited the restaurant, said, "Hey, why don't you sell food? I think you'd be good at it." And back to restaurants as a distributor. And I applied for the job, and back then somehow I got it. True story. I was wearing my dad's suit, and I drove my dad's car to the interview. And
Was it oversized?
and you know what? And it's kind of a basic story, but I remember I would call it a real job. I thought I had a real job. I got this job, and I just immediately started sale. This is like the first laptop. A guy handed me a laptop in a parking lot with a list of customers and said, "You got to go visit these customers."
Right. There you go.
And it was the guy leaving the job. I had not met my boss yet.
Oh my!
And so I said, "Okay, I'll figure this out." And so I did. And that was my first sales job. And I went from there. This is a long time ago, but, you know, 1995, that was. And back then, and just monetary figures, you know, I was making about $65,000 a year in that job, which was tremendous, right?
Yeah.
Back then I was young. I was 23 or something like that. It was pretty good. And then I just got a taste for sales. I just said, "Oh, this is commissioned." And I remember going to the payroll office, because I didn't even know there was such a thing as a payroll office. You got to remember, I wasn't schooled. I didn't know that. I just kind of worked. And I said to the lady, "Hey, Linda, I think you made a mistake." And she's like, "Oh, what happened? What happened with your paycheck?" I said, "It's too much. This possibly can't be my check." And she said, "No, that's what we pay you." And and that was a good ride home.
Wow, what an honest guy! I would have been like,
Don't tell anybody.
And that was the world of, they gave me a car allowance, they gave me the benefits, everything like that. And it really changed the way I looked at things. But the way I was, when I buy into a program like the job, that's my job.
Right.
Don't give it your all. That's what I got. So fortunately from there, I, back then we didn't have, Indeed or any of these monster jobs or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd seen an ad, for the garbage industry, and basically it was just this little ad that said, "Hey, come sell garbage." And, shoot, is that not the mob? Like, I'd heard that garbage is a mob. So I applied for it. I got an interview, and,
the disappearing word for it. Like, it's fine.
I said,
Can you be specific what job were you applying into, Colin? I mean, no.
yeah. So, well, that's what I didn't know. They said they needed a retention salesperson.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I don't even know what that is.
What were they going to sell?
I've been here.
Yeah.
And he said that the question was, we've gone into a new territory as it was a public company.
Right.
And, a new company has come in. We've been the only one there for 30 years. So we controlled the pricing. Not control the pricing, but we own the city. Somebody's come in, they're slashing rates. We need you to retain customers. Sounds good. I used to sell tomatoes. How hard could this be? Right. And, so I said, they made me a job offer. It was less money, but I still said, like, well, I think I want to work for a public company. I want to work for a public traded company. Like, he's told me there's opportunity. I always believe in what people tell me. Right? Long story short, I worked for that public company for 17 years, and I went up to senior management, mergers and acquisitions, all of it. And it was not the mob, but associated. Lots of it was.
Let's clear that up.
Yeah.
For 17 years.
So, but I just worked all the way through the company, and every promotion I got there was just through working. And I think it's just something that happened in my life that people would always say to me, hey, somebody give me a chance, I want to give you a chance. Or I want to give you the opportunity. And that's kind of worked all the way through. So now that's kind of what I want to do for people, and what I do for people as well is they don't always have to be, I want the person that works with me or for me to want to work there. Right. If
Right.
they all believe if they want to work there, they're going to do what it takes to make it happen, and they're going to learn it.
Right.
So if I fast forward, like there was 17 years in there with all types of stuff, but working with a public company is different, but it's very, very good training.
Right.
And especially in that industry, there was a lot of people just like me that didn't have the formal education, but they learned in that environment, and they were given the opportunity. So it was fantastic. And then I moved into real estate and started a bunch of, little startups and sold them. And
before we get into the real estate stuff, I'd like to acknowledge a few things. I've shared this with Bryan before. Like I think college and the higher education is definitely overrated, overhyped. I've sat next to people from PhDs and like they claiming Ivy Leagues and whatnot. I think some of the like whatever the I've been to Harvard, took a picture next to the founder and everything, but I've also like sat next to so many people and worked along with them, and like some of them are brilliant people, some of them are absolute idiots as well, absolute ones, right? You don't find them very often, but I think I think what happens when they spend too much time within the box or within the system is like they have a very closed mind way of looking at things. I don't know.
They do.
They're not very approachable, right? And I've often come across is they're unkind. I don't know where that comes from. I don't really know because like if there was a teacher or someone who's unkind to me, I would. It's they're God, like because I've always like the way I grew up, I always stood up to the authority, and I couldn't submit to the authority except to God. Like that's the only way I grew up. I've shared this with Bryan 100 times, but like I think beyond that, Colin, I think there's a lot of like growing up for you. I'm sure there are a ton of principles and value-based system that you grew up with, and I'm sure like if anyone listening, I think they can get a ton of value. How was that ingrained into you? And because like you were able to turn something into like you were great at sales and all of that, but I'm sure that there's a lot of values and principles growing up that was ingrained into Colin Harms. So what was that like?
Yeah, I think a lot of that came from early on, not self-help, but self-development, like following people, and, people would, say, hey, here's a great book I'm reading. And this is long before, the internet was the internet and YouTube was YouTube. So I did it. Like I was the guy that would listen to the CDs driving into the office. I kind of, that was my jam, and that was my sound. And it was literally, it was CDs, right? Like, I don't know if you know John Maxwell. He's a great leadership guru, I would say, and very solid.
Self-education.
He's not a right. And
Self-education,
very, very good developing leaders, I guess. So, that's what I did. I would read it. I would listen to it. I'd watch what I could. And it really worked for me. And that's, I think, where the blue sky came in was, hey, I don't have people around me, that can put air in my tires every day. I'm going to have to do this. And, I was always finding myself in an environment where I could grow, right? Like it was like, shit, if you're going to water me, I'm going to grow. And, and it, it happened over. Right. So that's where I think it really came in, and I would study people, how do they get there? Right. And I think now, if I was to go into YouTube or whatever, anything, Instagram, and I watch some videos or TikTok, it's back for you guys. It never did leave Canada. But the believability, or for me to follow somebody like that or learn from them, isn't as strong as it was when I had to actually read the words in a book off a page. Right. And circle words and circle phrases and learn them. Now it's a video, and I'm a little skeptical. I'm like, did you rent that house? Or like, I don't think that's your plane.
Yeah, Airbnb,
Right?
Verbo, whatever. Yeah,
Funny. Guilty.
So-
Let's go Airbnb that mansion, and we're going to tell you how to buy this mansion. Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
I don't think you're 21 and go, doesn't everyone have a Lambo or two? I don't think.
I was booking an Airbnb. I was like, I think once or twice, I was looking at it in the listing. It was said like, no commercial photography and things like that. It would say, I said like, I just need like for a couple nights and a bedroom and like for a family who's going to take a commercial photography and we don't want to shoot anything here. And then later, okay, I after thought, okay, fine. Like looks like people renting it to shoot and do all different kinds. So
Yep.
yeah.
I get that. And then I even think in my office now, I have 3 books beside me. Of course, I watch videos and clips and I get motivated or inspired by that.
Right.
But I think that's what makes me who I am. And, it's worked for me and it continues to work for me.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where, like, I'd met Kelly, right, in business development.
Of course.
Random because actually what had happened was that beginning of 2023, I think it was, I was looking on Spotify for business development. I'd read somebody put it out there and it said, sales is not business development. Right. So I think that's what I put into Spotify, business development. I'm like, oh, what is it then? Right. Because I never looked at it like that. So I listened to Kelly popped up. And so I started to listen to it. And I don't know if you heard the story, but I didn't know that he had just started the podcast. Right. But I like to encourage people. So, I had checked some podcast stats and I sent him some stuff and I'm like, man, like you've done over 20 podcasts. Like that's phenomenal. Like the average is like 3. And so then he replied and said, can I call you? And he said, I just started.
Kelly's amazing, right?
He's a sales guy.
Yeah.
Is.
Just so anyone listening or watching, I think all faces in this podcast have been on the business development podcast already.
That's right.
FYI.
Let's do a round of applause for Kelly Kennedy.
Yeah, shout out to Kelly.
So that was part of who I am is, I don't really see the difference between myself or you or any of us more important than the other person. And I don't see, I think my parents taught me that is I don't see a hierarchy because there certainly wasn't one in my family or my dad's surrounding or anybody we were around. And so I don't really see that. And I would call it like a business racism, right? There isn't,
right.
Because people block you out. I don't care where you came from or what you're doing, or if it works for you, let it work for you. If I can learn from you or if you can learn from me, let's do it together.
Yeah. Because the more closed I was, like at the world also, I found it closed. The more open I was, I also found the world like the exact mirror. It was open. Like I think the world has a way of like helping you out. I don't know. I don't know how it exactly works. It just like the world wants to help you. I'm sure you've felt it many times.
Well, and you know what? I agree. And I had the opportunity, I think I was pretty young at the time, like even to just sit at dinner tables with CEOs of these large public companies and realize really for the most part, they're just normal people.
Yes.
That are doing, I guess, extraordinary things.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I remember talking to them, eating with them, drinking wine with them or whatever it is. And 99% of them are just wholesome, good people. And I remember the one guy, he was the CEO of the company and he was retiring. And I remember reading the stats and I think he had made 66 million that year, and I just thought like, these guys just sit here. So it's possible, right? Like he's just here. And I remember outside the restaurant and I shook his hand and he said, I may never see you again. And I said, well, you probably will. And his name is Keith. And he said, well, where? And I said, in the stock price. And because I worked for the company and I remember it. And he called me after that. And he's like, that's gold, brother. He's like, he goes, I just want everybody that works together. Like it's all about the stock price. Right. So you will see me. It's just in the performance.
Right.
But I remember from him and we're still, we don't talk or we've sent some emails and whatnot. But I looked at him and I'm like, hey, that guy's exit was just that one exit was 66 million, right? So that means that's not the only exit. And it's not just the money, but it's the ability to be able to get there.
Got it.
Like, what would be the difference? And I remember calling that guy in particular. My first year in, I'd got a bonus. I didn't even know about bonuses then. They just sent me a bonus, and it was $13,000 or whatever. And I called my boss and I said, "Hey, thanks for the bonus. I really appreciate it." And she said, "I didn't give you a bonus." And I said, "Well, there's a bonus on my check." He says, "Maybe somebody else did." So I phoned up higher, went up the ladder, and he said, "No, I didn't give you the bonus." And in the end, it was that guy. It was that key. It was the guy who gave you the bonus. So I said, "Well, what's his phone number?" They're like, "What?" I go, "What's Keith's phone number?" "We can't phone Keith. He's the CEO." I said, "Well, he has a phone." Well, he's about there. I don't remember. I phoned that office and I asked for him, and they asked who it was. I told them, and they put me through. And he's like, "Hey, how can I help you?" And I said, "I just want to thank you for the bonus." And he paused and he said, "You know what?" He goes, "We pay out hundreds of thousands of dollars in bonuses. Nobody ever phones me and thanks me." Right. And I can promise you, my bonus, most of the people's tax were higher than my bonus, like by like $100,000, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I was just like, you know what? I was genuinely thankful. I was like, "Hey, like this is amazing to me."
Yeah.
And it just kind of went from there. And so, fast forward, that was, I've been with that company for 7-8 years. But that was the evolution of how do I start my own company or buy a company, right? You got it with different things or industries. And here we are today.
Wow.
Yeah. Powerful, Colin. So you spent 17 years in the mob industry or not.
If I told you the name, you'll say it was BFI. It was BFI, right?
So after, everyone knows it. Like, okay, got it. You spent 17 years there, and after that, like something took you. You wanted to take your life in a different direction. You wanted to venture real estate.
Wow.
What happened was they took my life in a different direction. We had, through acquisitions, particular area I was in, there was never any overlap. The business had never been taken over. So I just kept on moving up in the company. And I knew my day was coming. After every acquisition, we would see a mass email and 144 people would be gone, or, anytime there was an overlap, it was just that. It's kind of like Ben Affleck was in a movie about that. It was a great movie. And he always waited with your white box. Is today the day? And as a matter of fact, my controller actually, I could say it now because it's so long ago. He actually had a code word, and he said, "If it's going to happen to you," he goes, "I'll know about it." And we were good friends. And he said, I'll just text you." And it was WestJet, like the airlines. That means the plane's taking off. So get your shit together.
Right.
So it has happened 3 times that he texted me, and I waited. And I got told to meet at a restaurant in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, today's the day.
He who the Keith again? Or
no, he was long gone. Yeah.
Who's the he? Who's the he you're mentioning?
What's that?
No, you mentioned like 3 times. You meant who's the he you were mentioning? Sorry.
Oh yeah. So my boss called, said, "Hey, let's meet at this restaurant." And I said to him, I remember I said, "What can I do to prepare for this meeting?" "Just show up."
Right.
Sounds good.
Public scene. That's what it is.
Yeah. And so I did, and he couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it. I don't know what happened. He's talking, making small talk. He's asking me about my future. Is there any other positions I'm interested in? And he left, and I left, and I went back to work. About a month later, I got a call and said, "When are you going to be in the office?" And I said, "Okay, today's the day." And because I was in a different city, they weren't even in my city. So when I pulled up, I saw some vehicles, and I said, "Okay, today's the day." I walked in, I walked by the boardroom, I saw them, I went to my office, and I went back, and 4 minutes later, I didn't work there anymore. And all they did was they said a piece of paper. They said, here it is. We're terminating your position, and we're right sizing the company. And you can call your lawyer, and you can have your lawyer call our lawyer. And he goes, and he actually said, you know, our lawyer, because it was your lawyer for 17 years. And I said, okay. And and actually he said, this would probably be the best thing that ever happened to you. And I said, yeah, you're probably right. And the weirdest part was I had a company vehicle and whatnot. So it was kind of like I had a box and I'm in the parking lot and I had to like go for a ride.
An Uber
Right.
around or no?
What's that?
Was there Uber? Did you call Uber a taxi?
No, this was pre-Uber. Yeah,
Oh,
there's just actual taxis. Yeah, so I called a friend.
Oh,
And
Uber wasn't there, probably. Or maybe it was. Or maybe it was. I don't know.
almost.
It was like 2008 or I don't know, right? Like it's like
Oh no,
2010.
Yeah, Uber wasn't there.
so yeah, that was kind of it. That was the to me that was I had some weekdays after that or some not so fun days because I wasn't quite sure. But that still, if that day had not happened, I wouldn't be where I am today. I'd probably be hanging on to that golden parachute or golden handcuffs, I should say, and just waiting because in this particular instance, there was no golden parachute. It was just kind of like, let's cut it dry and whatever happened. And I looked at it and I still have friends working for that company that had those golden handcuffs on.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did they tell you?
I think like, go ahead.
What did they tell you? Do they say, hey, good job, like for what you did? Or do they?
No.
They don't even mention it.
No, it was a few minutes, like literally from the time I walked by to the time I was out, it was gone, done. Just a piece of paper saying you no longer work here. And as a matter of fact, the funny part was, I mean, I was a senior manager. About a week after, they called me and said, due to the cutoff, I owe them 8 hours of my salary.
How insensitive.
Are you kidding me? They're a $30 billion company. Right?
Worried about
You spent 17 years there. Right?
Yeah, 17.
And they tell you owe us 8 hours worth of pay.
Yeah, and they took it.
Wow. Yeah, but you should have paid it. Like take it with interest.
Yeah, they said we'll take it out of your final pay. I said, all right, giddy up. And they did. Right. And it was at that point I said, I know what I'll never do to somebody. Right. Although like I would obviously do the opposite, right? I'm gonna like do everything I can to make this person's life better, not worse at that day. But I think it just motivated me or inspired me, right, to be better. And because I'm still laughing about it, my wife doesn't laugh, but I'm still laughing about it.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's frozen.
Probably having a network issue there. Colin, you with us? Should be back there. Oh man, like I cannot believe it. Like you spent 17 years in a company.
Like you're a pest. Like you did nothing.
Yeah.
How could someone like? I couldn't imagine how you could sleep the next day.
I had someone tell me like I think he just left the call, but it's fine. He should be back in there. Someone tell me I spent like 20 odd years, whatever he spent in a company. I don't want to name. I don't want to bring like these are like big brand companies he spent time with, and he told me he was really upset when he said like I don't want to be a number in an Excel sheet. When I realized I'm in a number in an Excel sheet, I left. Like yeah, he said that. Forgive me, I couldn't mention who that is, but maybe off camera I can know.
Imagine that feeling. Yeah. The question I have for Colin is like, what was your first knee-jerk reaction to do? Not like, I'm gonna go punch this guy in the face or anything, but like, what was the first thought in my mind would be, this will never happen again. I will take 100% responsibility for this course of my life. Yeah. Like I just couldn't imagine that feeling.
It seems to be a pattern across the big corporations. I think the insensitivity and the unkindness. I think this is definitely not the first time I'm hearing it, but like someone spoke about this, Brian, and they said like, don't love your company, love your job, right? Because you never know when the company will start hating you. Because the moment the company doesn't like you, right, they don't want you, right? They're slack you off, right? So that, yeah, I think I think it tells a lot in terms of like when people become numbers in the spreadsheet, and oh yeah, we are losing a ton of money because of like X, Y, and Z, and we're gonna lay off like 1,000 people tomorrow, and like how are you able to sleep at night? That's the question. Like,
oh, because their value system is aligned with something else. It's they aren't valuable because they're not returning the profit that we see that we're getting from our shareholders who are investing millions and millions of dollars. So instead of like I have to worry about 10,000 people turning a profit for me, I can go to one person and turn the same amount of profit. So I think their value system is just misaligned by, I would rather keep this one person happy who's returning more money than these 10 people. But that Colin has a very good perspective that not a lot of people have. Well, at least my experience, I haven't heard anyone else have that same mindset besides you and me.
Yeah,
a few people
it took a lot to get here, Brian. There was a lot that we didn't talk about, like you and I, but like it took a lot. I'm glad. I mean, like the journey put us through all the pain and everything to get us here, right? I'm glad we are seeing for what they are actually, and not the superficial thing that is actually being present to the society. Hey,
there it is. Don't worry. We're going on the podcast now too.
We're good. We're going to be here, my friend.
It all froze up.
We're going to be here all night. I mean, we'll be there here.
I was like, what is going on? So
that was great. What happened? Just your computer crapped out or?
No, actually, I have no idea. Our phones in my office say no service. Our internet dropped. And
you know what? You guys cut it off.
So I'm actually running off the hotspot on my phone now onto my computer. So
that's what it is.
Got it.
Trump, here we are. Sorry, guys.
He's like, you guys, this is how we're negotiating right now. No internet for you. Elon Musk is not coming to rescue you.
That's right.
Nothing until we get a deal on the table.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
What was that? I just got fired again, right?
From yourself.
Speaking of firing, it's Colin, don't worry about it. Like, it will record high quality in your local computer, and when we get the internet back, it's gonna upload it. Like, so
perfect.
It should be all good.
Okay.
If we drop, I mean, like Brian and I, we were just like amazed at like what happened. You spent 17 years in a firm, and then I was just sharing with Brian that like some older gentleman, like he was probably in his late 50s, and he shared me something. He spent like about like good, I think 20 something years, almost similar situation. And he said like, Vijay, the moment I realized and felt that I was a number in an Excel sheet, I left.
Yeah.
That's what he said. And I don't know how people who make decisions are able to sleep at night.
Yeah.
How did I feel? How did you?
How did I feel
when that happened? How did you feel? What was your knee-jerk reaction?
You know what? I think I was a little bit in shock, not in a negative way, just because I was so prepared for it. Like I'd say, oh, hey, Brian got let go this morning. Oh, this guy got let go. This whole department got let go. And I'll give you an example. So still a good friend of mine, that same controller who was tipping me off, he had transferred to Tampa. And he said he gets out there, and they were dealing with South Florida, and he said they're going to introduce him to all the staff. So they go and they go to a pool hall or something, and he introduced them. They have drinks, and he's like, "Hey, Colin, hey, Brian." He meets everybody, and says, "See everybody on Monday morning." Okay, he gets to the office Monday morning. He's never been there, right? And he says to his boss, "Oh, hey, like, where is everybody?" "Oh yeah, we let him go." "What?" Says, we called them to the hotel Friday or on Sunday, said we have a meeting, and we let them go. We just released the whole department. So he's moved from Alberta, Canada to Tampa Bay, Florida, introduced to his new staff, and they let them all go 2 days before he starts his new job.
I don't. Oh,
So
like why
It's
gaslighting?
well, and the best thing you could do is just came to me now is the Ben Affleck movie. It's called Company Men.
Nope.
It's probably, I don't know, 10 years old now. And that's exactly what it is. And the reality of it is, even when I was talking to my lawyer, he's like, oh, yeah, this is textbook, right? This is what we do. We do labor law, and this is how it goes. And, you know, you just kind of toss it back and forth. But
up in the air. Similar movie.
yeah,
Two people.
where he just he gets
Young
logs all
slowly.
the air miles,
Yeah.
right, and he just fires people, right,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and that's what he does, and
For a living.
yeah, for a living. And
What do you do for a living? I fire people.
Well, like the interesting thing was,
Debt collection.
well, we had a guy, our COO, right? He was third from the top. His name was Dan, and synonymous, I guess, for 25 years, his name was Dan the Hatchet Man. It's like just axes people, right? And I'm like if I ever had to, terminate somebody, and I had a lot of people work for me over the years, and I had 155 people in the office there, like out of that office. And I remember terminating people, and I said, if you actually get off by firing somebody or terminating them, there's something wrong, right? I said it should be just as hard as you as it is on them.
Money,
right?
power.
With the exception of some weird circumstance or some volatile situation, right? But outside of that, it should be just as hard on you. For sure, it should be to this day, right?
I think it is the same mindset of having a bunker. If something were to happen, it's I think it's very similar.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? Like building $100 million bunker for yourself,
Yeah.
and the world dies to ashes, right?
Yeah.
It's no different.
Well, why would you want to burn the empire to the ground to rule over the ashes? Like I was just thinking, like I want a nice place to live as I'm driving into my home.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's like why would I want everything else to get on? That's interesting.
That's right.
So
The other thing that it taught me was I don't want to have to look over my shoulder everywhere I go. Right. Like I'm not going to burn that bridge. And there's, the way it happened to me, nothing even happened to me. Right. It just happened. It's how I took it. I could be negative and go away from that situation and live on it and harbor on it. And I see people do that, or I can just wake up the next day and say, hey, this is like, not to be corny, but this is the first day of the last day of the rest of my life. Right. It kind of works. And even now, like regardless of what happens every single day, is it all perfect and all, a bed of roses? Absolutely not. And what it isn't is if it was, it's Groundhog Day, right? Nothing's changing. Like how can I or you get better if we don't have challenges we have to work through, right? Like it's, I actually talked to Kelly this morning, and I was telling him the one thing that I don't get afraid of with the government or different choices it's all a cycle. I don't care if it's Franklin Roosevelt, whoever it is, they had real wars that were crippling countries, right?
Right.
Of course, we're civilized, right? We live in first world countries.
Right.
Regardless of what it is, we still wake up tomorrow with water, drinking water, and we still go to bed with heat. Like, the exception, it's, if I can let some of these little people being people things get me down, then that's me. That's on me. Right.
Right. Yeah. I'm just gonna, man, like that was deep. Like what you share, like just gonna light it up a little bit for us, and then go from there.
Like I've been looking at the wrong angle. That's interesting. It's true. We're in a first world country. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Colin, let me know if you're able to see this.
Oh, I can see it.
dancing. Love this dude. Oh yeah. Got a sword. The officer right behind him is trying to laugh. And Rania, she's elegant. She's plays great.
Look at him.
Yeah.
78 years old.
Yeah. You know what?
Melania's like, okay, what is this guy?
He's gonna
As always.
Air Force 1.5.
Is this the ball?
Yeah, JD.
Yeah, you got to do it.
It's like, thank you.
Where is
She
this
held
on?
it tighter. Did you see that? She held the sword tighter.
I love that clip. I had to bring it.
Yeah.
I mean, the kind of energy for Trump. Oh man, he inspires so many people in so many different ways. But like, what do you have to say to for a man like? I mean, like people are bogged down at 18 and 25, and like he's at 78 kicking ass. like the kind of energy that he portrays in situations like that. Like, what do you want to? What's your first reaction to that? Colin?
Well, you know what? I look at it deeper. Like, what has he gone? Like, so I can say, oh, poor me, I got fired, or poor me, they didn't treat me right. Look, the freaking guy just went through the worst 4 years you could possibly go through, right? Like, I don't even know. Like, I'd said to myself many times, I'm like, how's that guy wake up and like he's in New York, he's in court,
Yeah.
then he's in Mar-a-Lago somehow golfing like the same day.
Yeah, then they just
He just out of the day.
And the beauty of it is, when do they have conversations with like Elon and Mark Zuckerberg? And it's kind of like you're just like, oh, hey, Mark, what's up? Yeah. Or look,
Yeah.
and here's the reality of it is I think the funniest thing for me is Kid Rock or Dana White.
UFC.
These are people like Dana White that, you know, put a deal together to buy the UFC, sold it for $4 billion or whatever it was, got his piece, still operating it. What got them to that space? Then be in the White House, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and some
Like
fight promoter, just some guy.
is a fight promoter, right? And then I watched the JD Vance documentary or movie or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? That's powerful. That's powerful stuff right there. Like no reason for him to be standing there today.
None.
Yeah.
Right? Other than and he was, I mean, how they portray it, they say it was very close, like being put down at the tables because he wasn't educated enough or didn't come from the right background, that type of thing. That's the type of fuel that just starts a massive fire. I think it's phenomenal. And I think those are the people like Elon Musk. Well, he's Canadian, right? His mom is Canadian.
South African and Canadian. Yeah. All
right?
of it.
And there's an interview with his dad that's astounding that they said is like his second grade teacher said he was retarded, right? And told the dad to come get him. It's true. And those are harsh terms, right? When you hear that. And they said, why do you think that? Did you hear this story?
No.
So they said they use those words.
Yeah.
The dad goes there and says, well, why do you think that? And he says, well, he's just been staring out the window looking at that tree for 2 hours. And he turns around and he goes, the leaves are turning green. And dad says, I'm taking him home. There's nothing wrong with him.
Yeah. He's too busy.
And so you look at it out. Absolutely. Right. And you just look at what can be done and what can hold a person back. So Trump's Trump, but look at him. Like, there he is. Yeah. And here's the interesting thing. The whole world, Brian, like you said, is watching.
Yes.
Right? Like the whole world's watching. And one,
he doesn't care.
There's happy people, there's scared people, right?
Yeah.
And there's people going like, they showed a picture of Bernie Sanders yesterday. He didn't look that energetic.
Well, right? What? How hard has their life been?
Oh, right?
And that's what makes you stronger and more vigorous. And that strength leads to outward expression, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, 100%. Like I think it's, what do they call it? The refiner's fire or whatever you have to go through to get there, right? And you become polished. Then I think it's the confidence level, right? It's not ego. It's not ego. It's confidence because you've beat this, and this, right? There's a big difference between confidence and ego,
Yeah.
right? And you can state that down to a small kid in a dance competition or their first concert, right? A confident kid, not embarrassed, they're just out there, right? An ego
Right.
kid is out there like, hey, I'm Bart Simpson, look at me, right? Doing something,
Yeah.
right? There's a big
Yeah.
difference. And when you just played that clip on Trump, he's just,
Yeah.
right? Because he can.
No.
Yeah. He can.
I'm tired.
Comfortable in his own skin because he doesn't have ulterior motives.
Right.
He doesn't need any of those people. He needs none of those accolades.
He doesn't.
He
He doesn't take a salary to be a president.
I know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the funny part is, I'm tired today. He's not. What did I do? Nothing.
Trump says Trump.
My back hurts. I'm hungry. Right. I'm like, do these people not eat? Like,
Yeah.
when do they find time? No, when God's with you, God's with you.
100%.
I mean, like,
Yeah, 100%.
everything. It's so fascinating when it comes and around Trump. I mean, you and I think all of us, like, we have our McDonald's burgers, and I saw the clip with Elon,
Oh, yeah.
Trump, RFK. I don't know who else was like that.
Karen was in
from, I think maybe Mike Johnson probably, and like all of them were having their McDonald's burgers. It was the most fascinating picture ever. I mean, like you're in a Trump. You're a flight Trump, and flying a jet and having a McDonald's burger.
Yeah.
Oh, the greatest picture of all time.
Yeah.
Right?
And the greatest advertising for McDonald's could ever have.
Yep.
100%.
Everyone's like, is that
Yeah.
secret sauce? It's gotta.
Yeah.
It's gotta be.
That's right. Super such Trump. Right.
The way this guy leverages situation and then not gaslighting, but at the same time, I think he has a perfect reaction to every situation. Like, we cannot. Trump is Trump. Like,
He smokes him out. He's like,
Really?
I'm going to
Yeah.
say the most ridiculous things,
Yep.
see how you react, and then I'm going to react.
Yeah.
I want to see you react first.
Yeah.
yeah,
And you know what?
Yeah.
The negotiating tactics he's using, if you call them tactics, or it's just him, right? Guess what? End of the day, he brings you to the table, right?
Yeah.
He's brought an entire country to the table. That's what he's done,
right.
right?
Yeah,
Like, how can it get better than that? Like we're worried about negotiating out some weird sales deal, right? That we think is like crazy. He's brought the whole country to the table. And when you think of
Yeah.
it that way, right? Like, so
Mention.
yeah. So in retrospect, like, how can we not do what we need to do today or tomorrow?
Yep.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So what are you going to do with your business and your big blue sky thinking to, not maximize the next, this opportunity, but what is your vision for the future?
Well, and I've said it to my business partners ever since we're not just relying on one person, we're relying on what it's going to do, right, for North America, for that part, is I think our growth is going to be exponentially higher than we could have ever put down on pencil and paper, right? I don't think we can, if we actually move that way, I don't think we have any idea how good it could be, right? Or,
No,
if we,
we're just kind of along for the ride.
well, we're along for the ride, right? Like, this is it. It's the oil strike. It's here.
Yep.
Like, get in, hold on, and go for it.
Right.
And I think if anybody's ever scaled a business outside of, what they call scaling, like actual scale, the real business with real people doing real work with real result, I think this is the time.
Yep.
Like, there really is. It's like hit the ground running every day and go
Yeah.
after it. And you know what? Even if the economy didn't follow it, even if all these things didn't happen, I think mentally people can be in a way better state than they were. Right. I think
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm headed. Like no matter what happens, because real life happens, right? It's going to happen.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, I just think it's where's your headspace?
Yeah. I mean, one other thing that I want to speak about is like, I think someone mentioned and I took it and it was real actually. And people, I don't think people seem to agree a lot on this. Like, so there was two fork in the road moment that was being observed in the last, I think, 2 years.
Yep.
One was mentioned to be when Elon bought Twitter.
Yep.
He took the company private, paid $44 billion, like chip change, like from his pocket, like, yeah, okay, take it.
Yep.
And he bought Twitter for $44 billion, took it private. And the other one was Trump getting shot
Right.
in Butler, Pennsylvania, right?
Yep.
So, and these, like, how do you see these two different incidents? Like, they call it fork in the road moments in the last 2 years. And the beginning of all of this was a trigger from the big tech, like Twitter shut down Trump, like, and then all the other media companies followed suit, like Facebook did it, and all the other companies did it. He was shut down. How do you see that situation? Because, like, I think the only thing that has ever been given as a person, you're born into this earth, and the only thing is like you can express yourself, like you can say good mornings and the hellos and like greet people with kindness and like do what you can do best. But at the same time, you have an opinion or something, you got to say it. People got to say it.
Yeah.
Right. Whether it's good or bad, or you have to say it. Otherwise, how do you even how do you even express yourself? And people are shutting it down. I don't really understand where that comes from.
Right.
So how do you see this whole situation tied up together?
Yeah.
Trump getting shut down and the two fork in the road moments.
Yeah. I think it, what I would call it for me is a God play, right? Is finally at some point in time,
divine intervention. Yeah.
Yeah. Divine intervention.
Yeah.
You know, where the right people have to be in the right place at the right time for it to work. And I do believe God does that, and he makes a way, right, where there is no other way. Where we've seen everything going just a bizarre world we're living in and everyone just accepting it. No, I'm not saying these certain people, but like Musk says, okay, I've got the funds, I'm going to shut this down. They're censoring everything. They're you know, brainwashing people by what they let them see. So of course that's what they see, right? And my dad was a preacher, right? Still is. So he always said to me, if you wake up in the Middle East, and this is real, and you're handed a gun and everybody outside of this is an infidel, what do? That's what you believe. How can you believe anything else?
Right.
That's all you know, right?
Right.
So can you judge those people and say, well, how do you possibly think that way? No, because they say, why do you think your way? Right. So we get rid of the censorship like Musk did, right? Buys Twitter, gets rid of the censorship. And my favorite part of that was closer to the election happening, Mark Cuban posts on Twitter, or I'm sorry, on X. I don't know if you saw that on there. And he says, he's been in or whatever. And and Musk puts on there, actually, you forgot I own X. Oh.
I thought Cuban was a smart guy. I mean, like when I saw him on Shark Tank, until last like year ago.
So I can't censor if I want to, right?
Yeah, you did.
So I think all those things, and then Trump getting shot. I remember the day it happened, and he came up, and I think it was a life-altering moment for him. It really was. It was a come to Jesus moment, if you will. Oh, yeah. Right? Regardless of how he said he believed or what he did believe, I think that was the moment of no return, and let's believe it. And I think that's the moment things shifted and started to change in North America for sure, and in the world.
Got it.
Right?
Got it.
So for me, I think that's real, and I'm happy it's happening because I've you know, in retrospect, I've lived a lot of years going, are things ever going to change? Like is this really the way it's going? Because people always say, let's go back to the good old days. Well, I've heard it this way. People say this is the end of the world. This is it. End times, whatever they want to call it. Somebody I heard say, well, okay, so let's, as harsh as it was, let's go to the gas chambers and the lineup of the people there. Think about this. You want to get deep? This gets deep. He says, how about the conversation when the guy turns around and says, I think this is the end of the world?
Wow. It is. It is.
For that.
I
From
love
the Holocaust
California.
until now, that is the end of the world.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh,
Now you got a guy saying he's sitting under a palm tree drinking a martini. He's saying, I think this is the end of the world. Well, might not be.
yeah.
Nah,
Right.
I remember Trump, sorry, not Trump, like Elon saying that after he acquired Twitter, he was in the headquarters. I've been to San Francisco multiple times when I used to live in the States, Colin, like my friends lived there in Silicon Valley for all the glory it had. It's beautiful. Like, and the entire West Coast is beautiful. We all know it. It's beautiful. And Elon said, like, right now it looks like zombie apocalypse, right? That's how it looks at the time, right? I couldn't believe it because what's happening, that's really the end of the world. Like, I mean, if it's going to collapse, this is how it's going to look.
Yep.
and they were all going to profit off of it. And it was, they're
Yeah.
just a bunch of pirates.
That's
They
right.
don't
Yeah.
understand how
Speaking
to
of
make-
Elon, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't know how to make business with a prosperous mindset and motivating people and giving them a brighter vision of what it could be. They don't know how to do
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
sad.
If you're not optimistic about life, then what else have you got? Like, okay, you will wake up and be pessimistic. I mean, I don't understand this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, it's Monday morning. Let's be negative. Let's be pessimistic. Let's go be unkind to. Is that what you were planning for your week?
I think
I don't understand at all.
I think you hit the nail on the head though, because my wife always says to me, is like, do you ever get upset? Like, do things not really bug you? And I go, sure they do. For sure they do. It's just like,
Yeah.
like, why is that going to get me down? Right. And it's not that I'm really, I don't think I'm ever in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Things affect me. Of course, I'm human. It's just, I think I have the resilience and the ability to bounce back like very, very quickly. Right. And I just don't want to see it. I don't want it to play a part in my life. Right. So let's go to the next scene. Let's write the next page, whatever that may be. And sure, that's not living in this fake airy fairy world that people would say, right? If you look at that video, you're going to have to send me that video clip of Trump.
I will. I will.
Just because no different than who am I? And I'll go back. So you would know that in Canada is have grade 12. That's your diploma. When I was going into my 12th grade, I should have said this earlier. I remember the principal in my school said, so what are you going to do next year? Like, you got to come back. And I said, for what? Like, do you want me for a speech or what do you want me to do? And he says, no. He said, so we have a credit system. So you had to have 100 credits to graduate. I had 46 credits. And he says, well, you can't graduate. And I said, actually, I did the math. I can, and I will. He said, well, how's that going to be? And I said, well, if I take this course and this course and this course and this course, I get retroactive credits for the other courses. So I'll finish with exactly 100.
Yeah.
And I did. And I have a transcript.
Good for you.
It, right. And
Wow.
and right.
Wow.
And I think I was probably the only one in my family that my parents thought that was brilliant. Right. They're like, no one's ever done this before. This is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
Make it work.
make it work. Right. What do I got to do? Right. So you get through that. And there's no silver spoon whatsoever. Right. Like, it's just like, let's just roll and see what we can do. And then I look at the Zuckerbergs of the world. Right. Like, I don't know, like, they should almost write a book like the dropouts. Right. Like, they are the dropouts. Right. And not to say they only went to high school, but you know what? They had the opportunity to go further. They had the Ivy League schools. They dropped out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They went on to do more things. It's just beyond me. Like Bryan said, well, let's wake up and just be in a good mood. Right. Let's, and here's the thing. Let's, when we go to bed, be in a good mood. Right. That might help that we wake up as well.
Yes.
Right.
That's right. That's right. A lot. Yeah.
What you put in your head, right? What goes in comes out. That's easy.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
And that's the whole part of our life. So
Yeah.
and who the ability, or I look at today, the opportunity, not the ability, the opportunity that I'm actually on this call with you, to me, is really gratifying to me, because I'm like, well, how the heck do I end up on here, right? Like this is an honor for me, and I take from this, like I learn from this, right, and I pull from it, and I'll be better because of it, right? So right.
No, it's an absolute honor for all of us. I think for me and Brian, it's an absolute honor to talk to you, bro, Colin.
No, I
And it's
appreciate
like,
that. I would have thought you were a Ivy League Mr. Button Up. You know, I did this and this, and I did this because I earned it. No, you earned it, my friend.
Yeah. No,
You are.
that's why I share,
literally.
right? Like I don't know if you know what my shirt is.
Oh, I actually thought it was.
So it's Arete. So Arete.
Arete.
Yeah. So if you look it up, it's Ed Milet and Andy Frisella. I don't know if you know Ed Milet. He's out there.
No.
Okay, so I'll send you some links. Anyway, so they have a,
Sure.
it's like a secret society, almost Arete. Like people say, oh, it's secret society. I said, I pay to be a part of that group, right? So it's so secret. Pull your wallet out. Hey.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what does that mean? Like, Colin, Arete?
So it means, it's a Greek word just for excellence in business.
Oh, okay. Got it.
It's just a group, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I wear the shirt so I can look in the mirror and say, shit, that's what I got to be every day, right? That's who I have to be, right? I have to be that person. I have to give more. I have to give more to people, right? I have to give more to associations. And people will often ask me too, is like, oh, why do you do this? Why do you do that? Why do you help these people out? Or why do you spend your time doing that? And I live by one rule that my dad taught me is what I make happen for others, God will make happen for me. Right. So when I live by that, I don't have to worry about, will you make it happen for me? If I do something for you, are you going to make it happen for me? Because that's where I think we go wrong. Right.
That's right.
We do something and we expect something back in return. Well, you're looking in the wrong place.
Yeah.
If I have to worry about, I don't have to worry about God making it happen for me. He's already got that planned out. Right.
Right.
I actually spoke to somebody this morning. They were talking about, the tariffs, and how's that going to affect me? And I said, you know what, that's already worked out. I said that was planned long before I came around, and the results already, it's going to be there. So I'm not too worried about it. Now Brian's back on the other side.
Right.
You guys are sandwich you.
Yeah. I wanted to leave and come back in. And most important part.
What does it look like leaving a podcast and entering it? How does it feel? No, I would play a really good clip. I think people will get a ton of value and a lot of
Well,
and I want you to respond to that, Colin.
Yeah.
It's a clip by Jordan Peterson, and he talks about responsibility. And I think that's a lot needed in today's world.
Right.
Yeah, I'd play the clip and let me let you respond to it.
If you're smart, you better learn to be humble, and you better learn to be grateful for the fact that you've been gifted, and you better take that on as a serious responsibility, like a serious moral responsibility. Because if you don't, it will work against you. If you're super smart and your intellect is working against you, you are in serious trouble.
Did you hear it?
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. Because like if people are not taking responsibility, and if the intellect is acting against that, and people, I mean, it's so fun to be in the tech and at the same time call things out.
Yeah.
I mean, like everything with the word that starts with smart and the tech behind it. I love tech. I mean, people think they get smart by buying a smartphone. They don't. I mean,
No.
if you're spending the entire day on TikTok, right? So it's actually intellect acting against that in a way.
I think it's action. What do you do with it?
Yeah.
I think it's really what it is. Like you have a responsibility to do something with what God has given you. So
That's right.
what?
That's right.
Curious, Colin, what has God blessed you with that you were supposed to act on and bring about? What in your big blue sky vision? What is that blessing that you need to act on?
What was that? Sorry, my speaker's conked out here.
Oh,
Yeah.
There we go.
You were able to see the clip or all the
Yep.
good, right? Or you want to play it again?
Nope.
So what did God give you as a gift that you feel morally obligated to do something with?
Ooh. That's a good question. Yeah. You know what it is? It's I think it's a different gift, but it's a gift of empowerment, right? So he's gifted me with a gift of helping anybody and everybody to see more of themselves.
That is powerful. That is not a who thinks like that. You,
Hey,
he, DJ. You got a whole people that even think that way right here.
No, because like seeing others win, I think that is like I don't think people understand the beauty of seeing others win.
yeah.
If everyone around you and you want them to win, what are you gonna do? I mean, it's whether you win or not, it's a different thing. But at the same time, really like having without any agenda, just seeing others win, such a beautiful thing.
And you know what it is? It's something that's within you. I think I always tell my wife, like I'll watch like clips of American Idol or America's Got Talent, and they'll bring somebody out. You know, a guy was, hey, I was a janitor or whatever it is, right? And I actually have tears in my eyes, like before the guy even starts singing, right? I'm like, what is going on here? Like this guy's for real. Like it's empowering, and so I think it's because I always want to see the best in people, and I just I actually literally want to see them win, right? Like I want to see them win. And
Right.
and I think I want to,
Yeah, that's interesting. It's like what could
you know,
Yeah.
and I think if we can all think that way, right? And of course we can't, right? But if we can try to, or we can empower people more that way, it's like the school teacher. People say, "Oh, I had a teacher that believed in me." Well, that's great for 30 years ago, but how about yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like who believed in you today?
Yeah.
You know, and I just get super motivated by other people winning or being able to stand on that podium. And you know, and it's not it's not the ones that, you know, I always look at it this way, like they're there too, but they're the wealthy parents that could buy the uniforms for the team, and they could do all of that. Maybe because I never came from that, right?
Yeah.
I played ice hockey, and I had to quit at a fairly decent level because my dad decided to become a preacher and quit being a carpenter, right? So I had to tell my friends, oh yeah, I just don't want to play hockey anymore, right? Because that's not too cool to say my dad heard from God and said he should be a preacher.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. But I think to me, that's a benefit, right? I think that actually helped me, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Because you're the on the play I could have been. I'm curious how that could have been. So you want to see that in others because you wanted to see that in yourself.
yeah, correct.
Yeah.
How awesome are your employees? Well, your retention is probably 100%.
Yeah, we don't let anybody.
Yeah. Who would want to leave a boss that actually cares about making them better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'll use an example, and we don't boast on it, but when we started this company, my partner and I, we said, what are we going to do for people? Because he came similar background, right? Similar thing. And we said, like our first Christmas with the company, we just told everybody, we want everyone to have a break. These aren't your holidays. We're going to shut down for a couple of weeks, but we're going to pay you all the way through. And this isn't your vacation. But you're going to go home, you're going to be with your family or with whoever you're with and do whatever you do. But you're not going to worry about, do you get paid on Thursday? I just spent my money on Christmas. Now I got to work because I got to pay my utilities or my mortgage or my rent. And when we tell people that, when we hire them, we tell them that. We don't tell them that in the interview. Like they're shell shocked. They're really shell shocked, right? And when they come back there, and then we do little things one of my business partners, he's a cattle guy. And so what we do, we call it meat day. It's very, very simple, but in this world, it makes sense. Is about once every 5 weeks, we just yell meat day, right? And he has guys arrive and they have coolers, seriously, a cooler for every single employee. So in his other business, he's got 108 employees, right? And then he's a partner in my business. So he's just like, oh yeah, we're just going to give meat to every person every 5 weeks for their family. And so I'm talking like steaks.
5 weeks? They got milk
All the things.
stocked up.
Like every month, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. And the only caveat is that cooler has to be returned so they can pick it up by 8 a.m. the next morning because they have to refill them and bring them to more people. Right. So I have staff that are like, I don't have any more room. Like I can't eat that much. Right. And we're like, well, give it away. Give it to someone else. Phone your family. Whatever you do.
Wow. Every 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Man, I know what you get out of that.
Wow.
Right. So, and that's why
Wow.
I say, we don't do something so they can do something for us.
Yeah.
Right. We do it so they can do something for somebody else. Right. Whether that's believing in them, it's not all money, right? It's not all money.
No.
It's money's the last thing. Right. And I mean, they do get paid. They do have the benefits. They do have all of that and they get paid well and we retain them. But it's more about how can we make their life better so they can make their family's life better.
And then they work. They're like
Absolutely.
I not so much have to work harder, but I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can and I want to. Right.
Yeah.
So it's just one of the cultures that we have, right? And we call it do the right thing for the right reason. Right.
Yeah. I mean, Colin, you mentioned like you're 50, 52 years old and I'm sure, and you don't look 52 at all, of all good reason. I'm bringing
41.
that number because like I 25 more like, and like,
I give away 10 years off.
yeah. But like you're young at heart, obviously. And also, I mean, like, let's move on. Right? So, I mean, like, I see a lot of kindness and the way you approach it. And I'm sure there's a ton of like life lessons, like what life has taught you.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that like? I mean, what did you learn the last 20, 30 years? I mean, like, I'm 40 now and then Bryan in his late 30s and like we're trying to figure out shit. Like, I mean, like, we're trying. Okay, mid 30s. Come on, like you're what, 36?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think people take themselves too much over seriously, and I think it's not really required. And I think life is rather not as complicated as it looks, but at the same time, it's deep. And I think it's very short. If you look at the time span of it, like probably 70, 80, 90 years, it's a very short time span in that you spend over here. And like, and then to actually figure out shit, like it takes a ton of time. And by the time you actually get it, okay, fine, good. Oops,
I didn't.
I have $10 million. Let me go die. I mean, like, it's like, right. It's like beyond, it has to be beyond money. And I always felt that the humanity is worth it. It's worth a shot, and people are worth it. And more people are actually nice than actually the opposite, because like they are like the mirror. If you're good to them, they're most likely also reflect the same. And they have all. Yeah, my experiences, like, they have been always good. Like I've seen extremes. I've seen different extremes as well. But largely, I think the experience has been good, and I feel like humanity is definitely worth a shot. What has life taught you living on this planet for like 52 years?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I've been taught is there is no, I'll call it this way, there is no organizational chart, right? And what I mean by that, there is no hierarchy, right?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like I don't give a rat's ass if somebody's worth 52 billion or they're worth $5. They're not any better than I am, and I live that way. I'm not impressed by it.
Right.
And I'll tell you why. There's a group of guys in the city I live in, and they have supercars, I guess you'd call them, right? Modern day supercars. Every Sunday they meet for cars and coffee. I think it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. And they stand around, they drink a coffee, they talk the same thing every Sunday morning, and they drink a coffee and they open their hoods like on their R8 or something. And I'm like, what are you looking at? Like, it looks the same.
Bless this
last
stickers.
Sunday. And then what? Three of them live down the road from me. I live in a nice area, and I'm blessed with that, and I worked for it. So imagine that. I have it, right? The funny part is, then they get in their cars, and they follow each other, but there's only one person in the car, them, right? And I'm like, so what do you do? Like, okay, Brian, you go first this time. I went first last time, right? And you just follow each other around. I don't understand if this is wealth or if this is prominent.
I think it's because they think that's what they need to do, because they went to school and they were told that you do this when you achieve this. They figured out the equation. They didn't think about another way to solve the same problem.
Yeah. So when I look at it though, I go, okay, so what have I learned in my life is I walk my dog a lot with my wife, right? In the same neighborhood that they drive by and they wave at me and they probably think, oh, he doesn't have anything. I got a lot, right? And I've learned that none of that matters, right? Do I have a nice car and truck? Sure I do. Do I have a great house? I do have a beautiful house, and it's big and it backs on a river, and none of that makes me any different than anyone else. But what it does for me is it's a little bit of a mystery, and that's not an ego thing. It's just I've worked from nothing to this, and I'm a mystery in the neighborhood. They're like, well, how's this work? What does that guy do? Right. And they've asked me, like, what do you do? I go, whatever I want. What do you mean? Whatever you want?
Not enough.
Yeah. Let's see tomorrow. Right. And he mows his own lawn. I like it. I like it. Right. I clean. I've had one of them stop at my house and say, hey, Arms, you can pay people to polish your vehicles. I could, but then I would have to drive it around by myself. Like having friends, right?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and one of my favorite lines I've heard that way is, and I'm going to use it one day. I just haven't is, hey, Arms, I don't see you in the bar anymore. I'm going to go, yeah, I don't see you in the bank anymore. Right? It's just the thing I've learned is, where are my priorities? Right? What's actually important to me? And another one is, I golf, right? I'll golf. I'll go in tournaments. I'll do whatever. But I've always said, I'm married. I have 2 kids. I always said one of my pet peeves is driving down the road in the evening and I see a lady pushing a stroller, walking with 2 kids or kids on bikes. And I'm like, where's the husband, or where's the significant other? Is he golfing by himself? Is he driving around in his Corvette, like without the family? Like, how can you even feel like a man doing that? Like, honestly. And I said, no, I think life's too short. I think I'll just enjoy it with my family and do it with my kids and that type of thing.
Yeah.
So I think what I've learned is just be real, right? Like no doubt, like I get it. I watch the videos and
100%.
I see the guy bought the McLaren and he said that he did it because he's proud of himself, and I get it. Good. Be proud of yourself. But I can promise you one thing, like if he pulls up to his old high school and he's trying to impress the new kids that are coming up, none of them get it. So you're the only one that's impressed.
Oh,
Yeah.
How could they get it? Right?
Yeah.
So
Just be real. I mean, like, how can you not be real? Like who are you trying to please here? Right?
yourself.
Yeah.
that's good of yourself.
Right? That's not to say I don't. I like nice things and I have nice things and I'm going to do more of them. And you know, I'm going to be that guy in Starbucks where all these people are in the cage in the rat race, and they race in to get their coffee every day, and they leave, and who's that guy in the corner? Well, that'll be me. I'm still reading the newspaper, but I don't have to race out and go to work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or it's like I I'm a pretty lucky guy, not in a weird way, but I'm a self-professed lucky guy. Maybe that's why. I was in this golf tournament. It's called the Italian Open, and you win a Rolex or you can win a Ferrari, right? To win the Ferrari, we've got to get a hole in one. Not happening. To win the Rolex, they reach in a bag and pull your name out. So I won the Rolex, right? This is years ago.
Yeah.
Did you get
And
green
so I
lights? all the way home?
rarely. What's that?
Did you get green lights all the way home too?
Pretty much, yeah. And it's kind of the way I think things should go, so they happen. So I win this Rolex, and people are like, shit, you must be a good golfer. I'm like, no, it was a draw. It was a draw. We're winning for winning the golf tournament. But I still have this Rolex, right? And I'll sporadically pull it on people. Go, oh, there's the watch. There you go. I'll wear it, but I don't want to wear it to be that other guy, right? So I started wearing it everywhere. Like I would wear it if I went to the lake. I would wear it if I was shoveling dirt. And then one day I looked at it, and the bezel was all torn off, and it was wrecked. And I said, well, I wrecked my Rolex. So I asked my wife, I'm like, hey, will you take it back to that store where it came from? I heard Rolex has a lifetime warranty. She's like, ooh, yeah. So she did. And the guy's name's David. He said, you tell your husband, Colin, when it comes back, because Rolex has to fix it, I guess, that he has to come see me. I'm going to teach him how to wear a Rolex watch. That's the funniest thing about it. So I went there, I buzzed in, I got my watch, I listened to the lecture, and I wear it sometimes.
You just wear a t-shirt. Yeah, it's a t-shirt. Just wear my Rolex. Don't even worry about me. I love that.
Yeah. And it's just the way, that's the way I look at things, right?
No. It's I enjoyed it. I mean, I think people who are really rich, both rich at heart and then they don't really talk about the bank balance, and they don't really have to watch. Even wear go in a Lamborghini or a Corvette or wear a Rolex for that matter. Like they don't really have to show stuff to prove their worth. You know what I mean? They are what they are. Like they're worth. They know their worth.
Yeah.
They don't have to prove it to anyone.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. I moved here 2.5 years ago to Alberta, Colin. I used to live in Toronto. I was working with a startup at the time in downtown Toronto, Union Station, you name it. So this is a funny observation is I'll be on the road, and I think it was right after COVID, and people are pretty much everyone was mad heading to their offices in downtown, big glass buildings, whatnot. Then I thought traffic's crazy. I'm not driving. I'm probably going to try taking a train, and no one talks to anyone. They're super weird, right? They are looking at their phones, and no one is friendly with anyone. I don't want to do this. I told my wife so many times, no, I'm not living in this big city and then doing the same shit. They're all unhappy. They're doing something wrong, and I'm not going to do it. No.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's God or someone I think it's I think God knows at what we want also looks like, and they push us to move forward, go beyond, and somehow we came to Midwest, and I think it was the right calling, and we did the right decision.
Yeah.
So we are thankful to God in that way. But anyway, I'm going to switch the direction to some of the topic and talk about humor a little bit. I think humor as a concept, Colin and Bryan, I think it is as much as we love to laugh about things, it is disappearing from the society in different ways. And let me play a clip, and I'll get your feedback on it, and let's go to an AI section, Bryan. Okay.
Oh, of course. Get up. Yeah. I want to hear funny stuff though.
Better. It's this is a new time for jokes too, because everything I say on this Netflix special is gonna get me in trouble. But I knew coming in. But I want to explain to people if they're mad at me. Talk to me off stage. I'm super reasonable. But I say shit I don't mean because it's funny. People should get that, but they don't get that. Not in 2018. Everybody wants to write it down and make it literal.
This is exactly what he said. Here's a quote. Hey, let's send the hate.
Hello.
Exactly what I said. How dare you?
Same thing. My fiance will even, I'll say something. She'll be like, yeah, yep, he said that. Yep.
Yeah.
She'll just roll her eyes. Yep. Well, here he is.
No. I wonder where is humor disappearing in society? I mean, like if someone, I mean, have we lost our right to basically like roast someone, like crack a joke or something?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I laugh at LinkedIn, but if I'm like sometimes super sensitive, or if I put it, oh, will they feel a different way? I mean, like, you know what I mean, Colin? I'm sure like you've seen it a ton of times happening, and it's really funny, and I could laugh at it, and it'd probably add a comment or two. It's I could so it's so official and professional and like not funny at all. Like I don't like it.
You're not presidential.
Not presidential, yeah.
You know what? I probably laugh half my day.
Right.
I really do. Right. And,
Yeah,
and you said,
you got it.
where did it go? Why are people not happy or they can't enjoy things? Right. They honestly cannot enjoy things. And I look at them and I'm like, that was funny. Right. Like this real life situation. That's funny. That's funny stuff. Right.
Yeah.
And I think I think happiness, there was a happiness movement about maybe 10 years ago. I seen this bus. I was in Los Angeles and there was this giant blue bus and it just said happiness on it. Right. And they had pulled over and I said, hey, like, what's the deal here? And they're like, it's called the happiness movement. Right. And I have a picture of it and I seen it and I wonder, why did that go away? Right. Like somebody had an idea or somebody had a inspiration and it went away. But that's a thing. Like, why? Like I get up at, like on the one podcast with Kelly, my alarm is set for 4:19 a.m. Right.
Right.
And people say, well, why 4:19? And I said, well, I'm not a 4:20 guy. Like I don't smoke weed and I said otherwise. And nobody gets it. Like nobody gets to that though. And I was like,
Why? I'm not waking up at 4:20. I was about 5. Great. That's great.
And so I did things like that in my life. Right. And so I don't know if I talked to you about I thought it was a movement, right? I said there's a few powerful words in the world, right? So Nike says, just do it. To me, that's junk. Yeah. Stupid. It's the dumbest thing ever. Just do it. Oh, just clean it up. Just do it. They don't do it. Right. Under Armour makes it worse. They said, well, I will. It's great. Clean up your room. I will. Go make the sales call. I will. So I was on a plane. I was flying from Alberta to Scottsdale. I looped myself into this thing with Money Sense magazine, sell all this real estate in Scottsdale. Right. In the market in 07, the market hit the tank. They're selling everything off the courts. I'm like, well, this sounds like something I should do. Right.
Yeah.
I talked myself into it, get into there. I'm flying there and I hear these guys in front of me talking about they're traveling all over. They're doing all these different things. And I'm reading a Jeffrey Gitomer book, a sales book. Right. So finally I say, excuse me, guys, I'm just listening to what you're saying. What is it that you do? And the one guy says, whatever I want. And that's where I got it from. I'm like, what do you mean? Tell me more. He's like, I do whatever I want to do. How's that work? He's like, well, I created this lifestyle so I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. That's why I'm here. He's like, what do you do? Well, not that.
I'm here because I have to be.
But so I sat back down and I was writing notes on the plane. And so I thought to myself, how can I complete that sentence and do everything that I say I'm going to do? I'm going to say I did. Right? Did you do it? So you're going to do? I did. Right? I'm going to do it. So I'll even show you guys here. Right? I have a tattoo says I did. Yeah, right there on my arm.
I did. There you go.
The tattoo. I started a brand. I started a brand.
I actually really like that.
And it was called the I Did. So the whole
And this is the tagline. Wow.
What's that?
And this is the tagline. I did is the tagline for the brand.
That's it. It's I did. Right? I have it on Instagram.
Of this episode. I did.
I did.
Right? Love it.
And it should be because I said the two most powerful words in the world were said by Jesus as I am. And the second most powerful words are I did.
I did. There you go. Yeah, why not?
Why not? Well, if you think about it on a sales platform, right? I don't care if you're selling GM, if you're selling condos, if you're selling whatever you're selling, is if your team asks themselves at the end of every single day, did we do what we're supposed to do? Did I make my 100 dials? Did I do this? I did. There's no other words you need to know.
Yeah.
Right. I did.
I'm going to ask you right there like an unfunny question, but like I'm just trying to understand because it's what like Under Armours and the Nikes are they looking into the future tense, just do it or present tense, whatever. Right? And you want to talk about like something that's already accomplished?
Yeah,
Got it. Okay.
absolutely. So if you're the team that wins the Super Bowl, I did.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Did you win this? So it's kind of interesting. Like this, I've been toying with it, and I sold a lot of merch. I came up with a logo. I did the brand thing, but I'm one guy, so I do a lot of stuff, and I got to focus on where I actually make money. But Vaynerchuk last week has a clip that I saved, and he says I did, and I'm like, shit, I got to call Vaynerchuk, right? Because what he doesn't know is I've trademarked it. So, and I own some license at some point.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, it's the thing that makes me happy, right? So I have a personalized plate on my vehicle that says I did. So when I crossed the border, I remember this. My wife's like, that freaking license plate. We pull up and you got any guns, ammo, this, that, the other thing, $10,000. No, I don't. He goes, but what'd you do? Yeah, I remember this. The customs guard says, but what'd you do? I go, I don't know. We went shopping because I got 2 girls and a wife. That's what we do. I just drive around, we shop. And he goes, but what'd you do? And I'm like, fool, like he thinks I'm smuggling drugs. Well, what's going on here? And I go, I don't know. I just told you what I did. He goes, I'm asking you one question. What did you do? I go, man, I just told you, like we stayed in a hotel. Now I'm starting to sweat, right? I'm like, we ate some food. I had some beer. I don't know. And they shopped. That's what we do. We just come down here and that's what we do. He says, well, your license plate says I did. I'm just asking you what you did.
I was just sweating. Oh man. It's like, do you have any drugs in your car?
Yeah, well, you're busting my balls and I didn't do anything. Right. But it's funny because then I have the tattoo, right?
Yeah.
And my wife's like, you got a tattoo that says I did? I'm like,
Yeah.
I did. So people, everywhere I go, people go, what'd you do? And then I just tell them what my day was. That's what I did. Huh?
What you did? I did.
Started a company that builds airvac trucks. Why? Because it was there. I did. Because that's good.
Love it.
So much so, like Brian will get this. So my real estate corporation is actually called I Did Consulting. Right. So I had people ask me, well, what is this? You know,
It's so great. You can't go anywhere, my friend. We're friends. Because I did it too. Girl, I did it.
yeah. So if you think about it though, at the end of the day, I'll send you guys the branding packages. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Plate or a hat. And at the end of the day though, when I see people wearing them around. So if you go back far enough, you may not know. So New Kids on the Block, the band, right? They were performing in my local city. So I said, I got to get my hats on these guys. And they're like, well, you can't get your, like, they're not going to wear them. And I said, oh, so I just went to the stadium and I had this bag full of hats and I faked like I was security. And I said, I just got to go. I know the arena quite well. And so I get past there and I get to the door and I knock and comes out and he's like, can I help you? And I said, actually, I'm just here to give you guys these hats. And he's like, for what? I go, just to wear them like in your concert. And I got a picture of it. I can send you. They came up in the encore. They all had the hats on.
That's so
Wow.
And
some guy won't even admit it.
just get it done. Right.
Yeah.
And
You did and they did.
yeah. And then I got asked, I got in these weird situations and the guy said, so the Calgary Stampede, which you would have heard of, right?
Yeah.
Fairly big event. Paul Brandt's a large country star.
Yeah. Of course.
So I know a guy that knows him and he says, hey, Paul Brandt's at the Stampede and we should go see him. And I said, oh, why don't we see if we can do something for him? He's like what? I go, I have no idea. Like, what would we do for him? Long story short, Paul Brandt says, oh, you guys have a media company. And I learned you just say yes. So I'm like, yeah, we do. What is it? I did. And he says, well, this is like, well, 8 years ago, he goes, I want to be able, while I'm performing, I want live tweeting to be able to go from people's phone up there. And it has to be censored though, because he's very clean and doesn't want that. Can you guys do that?
Got it.
And I said, yes.
Mm.
And Michael's the guy with me. He's like, we have no idea what you're doing. How are we going to do that? I said, we're figuring out a way. So I have pictures of me and Paul Brandt and wearing IQ shirts and this guy. And we're on the backstage with Paul Brandt and we did it. I didn't figure it out. He did. And at the end of the day, I just said I did. So I have all these friends and they're like, how the hell did you get on the stage? I'm like, I don't know. I just did.
Get out of here.
Oh man.
That's the best. That's the best. That's, yeah, we can. You're going to be a hard act to follow.
Yeah. The more I speak to you, Colin, I want to keep speaking to you for hours. I mean, like I'm beyond enjoying this conversation. I mean, it's like, it's absolutely, yeah. If you drive up to Edmonton, please, I'd love to meet
I'll
you.
be there.
So if I do to Lethbridge, or if you go to Dallas, Texas, you'll meet my friend,
I'll go there too.
Bryan Hayes.
Yes.
Yes.
Because
I
you
will be
did
there.
it.
What?
We already did. We already saw each other. We already did it. They don't even know.
Now let's build the I Did company.
Golly. No, we got a lot. We got a lot. That's interesting.
I'm just going to take us through a quick AI section, and then probably we'll hit you with rapid fire,
We better
some fun questions, and then we will.
wrap it up.
We can keep going for hours. I don't want to stop it. I love it so much.
Yeah.
So
We did this. Oh my goodness. Okay, so AI. So tell me how, not even what do you see as the vision of the future? It's like, what can you do for your business with using AI?
I think the power of it for my business is 100% in the response time, right? Because I think how I mean by that is we live in real time, and we live in a world where customers or clients want real time answers.
Yep.
I think we've given up the liberty of being able to answer tomorrow or even later today, because I'm so used to instantaneous gratification that I've asked for it, so I want it. So I think quicker we can turn that in the sales aspect, as you said, the quicker we can turn that around is the more successful we're going to be.
Yeah. Well, think about real estate. You know, I don't know if you were in brokerage at all or if you were just in ownership, but if you call the broker, you're not gonna get him on the phone.
Right.
You're gonna leave a voicemail, and then you're gonna wait for him to call back. And you're gonna probably call 5 other properties that you're interested in, and the first broker that responds to you is gonna get your attention, and you're probably gonna deal with them.
100%. That's exactly how it is.
Interesting.
Yeah. I was going to ask, let's draw something funny, or whatever we want to draw. So I just started with these last 3-4 guests, Colin. So the way it goes is like, you can tell me what you need to be drawn, and we will draw it using AI, and then we'll ask a question around it. As simple as that.
Oof.
So whatever you wanted, like your coffee in Mars or whatever.
Draw what you did.
Draw me something.
Draw what you did.
Yeah.
What I did today?
Yeah.
Draw me whatever. Like yeah. Whatever you want.
Okay.
Go for it.
Draw me a giant check mark.
Check mark. That's it.
That's it.
Let's see what it comes up with. It brings out something we never thought about. It'll be good to see what it comes up with.
Yeah, I love how it goes green.
Draw me a check mark.
Let's get
I
color.
like green. Green is happy.
Green is good. They stole it.
Green lights,
Yeah.
right?
I like that green in the background.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here, I'll give you some green. Here. Boom.
Yeah. Draw me a giant check mark. So okay, good.
There's my green.
How do you see nature playing a role in people's lives, Colin? Seeing the green that I am, I think it's more connected to nature, authenticity, honesty, people. How do you see that playing a role
I tied
in
into
people's
real
lives?
life, right? Like nature is real life. You're outside, you're breathing, you're living. I always, when I'm talking to people or teaching them or they're teaching me maybe, is I say everything we do is a living, breathing document. Everything we do, right?
Mm.
So it's always changing. So I don't live in the PDF world. Once it's a PDF, it's a done document, right? We live in an edible world. So we are a living, breathing document.
Right.
That makes sense.
And AI.
Got it.
And
Got it.
do you keep up with that?
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
that instantaneous information that you're looking for. And you might want to
100%.
change something about that check mark that's interested.
Yeah. What are we drawing next? Like, let's do one more.
One more, anything?
Yeah, anything.
I would say
Draw me
Some of this pen.
an airplane taking off.
Draw me an airplane taking off. Okay.
Watch, it makes it green again.
You want to ask Brian?
Yeah.
The first question that comes to your mind,
Oh, Brian.
or for a
What
friend,
is the
for a
song
friend.
that
No,
is playing?
he's going to ask you a question, I think.
What is the song that is playing as you're taking off?
Oof.
In your check mark, green check mark playing.
Yep.
See, the check mark is hidden.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah, you see it.
I see it on the wing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take Me Away. I don't know what the song's called, but Take Me Away.
Oh, that's a good one. I like Post Malone, Up There.
Oh, yeah.
Up there, That's a good one. Everyone smiles when I say that because they're like, yeah, it's the one.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
What is when you were, I'll ask a follow-up question. That thing when you were successful.
Oops.
Oh, when you
Sorry, go ahead.
were younger and you thought of this idea of success, what was that in your mind's eye?
Unfortunately, it was money. It was money.
Really?
Yeah.
And then when you got it, what happened?
It wasn't enough.
How much?
Obviously.
Fill it up.
Who knew?
Fill it up.
Not. I think Lil Wayne has something like that. When he's climbing the mountain, he's looking at the spot, and the spot's getting smaller, and he's getting bigger.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
I and to tell you the truth, when I got there and I got what I was going for, it was more what can I do for somebody else now,
Yeah,
right?
because you don't want to be
It was
on-
like,
yeah,
and the other part is, I'll use real estate real quick, and I'm known in my city for turning clients into realtors. And I'll give you an example. Another realtor said, "Hey, can you show this guy a property?" And I realized real quickly he thought the guy didn't qualify and couldn't buy a house. So I met them and I said, "Oh, hey, man, yeah." I showed him and his wife and I said, "What do you do?" He goes, "I'm a youth pastor." I said, "I know that. You don't make much money. I come from that background. I get it. You do anything else?" He goes, "Yeah, I work in a restaurant because I don't make enough money." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So all of a sudden I'm like, maybe he doesn't qualify. But then he says, "I got a trust account." And he says, "I can pull money from the trust to buy a property." So I said, "Oh, where do you go to church?" He tells me, and I said, "Geez, I know that church. They got about 800 people that go to that church." I said, "You can sell a lot of houses to a lot of people." I said, "I just met him. This is half an hour into meeting this guy. He's probably the third top realtor in the city now."
Wow.
And I've done this just with clients they're my clients, right? And they said, "You got to keep telling me, like, you turn your best clients into realtors." I say, "Yeah, but what did they do for people?"
Yep.
I never look at it that way, right? It's just what we do.
Yeah. Might as well. Might as well do something good with your time.
Yeah.
Might as well. It is what it is. Just I did it.
And I can't focus long enough to keep all the clients.
Yeah.
Right? I got to do more. I got to do something else.
Yeah. Interesting.
So
Yeah. We were almost coming to a closing end, Colin and Brian. I think I just want to ask you, I think we should do a part 2. Let's all submit to, please agree to that. We have to do a part 2.
I'll wear a blazer next time. Outdoor blazer.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna wear my t-shirt.
You could, yeah, whatever. That doesn't matter.
I'll wear a button-down shirt. I have one.
Oh, good.
I want
That dry clean.
Come on. Yeah.
See, this is,
No.
look at this.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Rural
for today.
Oh, there you go.
Gulf America.
Gulf of America.
Gulf America.
That's right.
Golly, it's so great. Here's God.
51st state, Canada.
Kennedy, where are we gonna put that star? I said, like, go where?
They had it in the corner.
In the corner. Yeah, in the bottom right.
Yeah.
How you feel? Yeah. I think it's
Yeah.
That's going to be a big state. It better be.
Yeah.
I would love my Canadian brothers and sisters
Right.
to join us on this path
Right.
of brighter vision for society.
I would love. So I do have to tell you something before we do go. So you always got to remember that. I want to tell it to you guys.
I did.
Yeah, and that is the logo. I'll send you guys a logo.
I did.
Please.
And then
Maybe it's the title of the podcast. Don't worry about it.
and it's a fish. To Jesus fish with a cross. And it says
Got it.
Psalms 5:12. So
Psalms
when you get a
5:12,
chance, look up
okay.
Psalms 5:12.
We will look it right up
All right.
right now.
It's a gooder.
Let's do it.
It's something I confess over myself every morning.
Psalms.
For thou, Lord, with bless the righteous with favor, but thou compass him. Oh, man, why am I reading this one?
Yeah.
What are you in the King James?
Blesses with favor, you will surround him with
Give,
a sheep.
give me the English version.
Yeah, give me the key.
The English Message version.
Is this the one?
Yeah.
For you bless the righteous, O Lord. You cover him with favor as with a shield.
That's right.
Wonderful. Interesting.
Thank
Yeah,
you for the
love it.
shield.
Pretty simple, right? So it's just right there every
Very
day.
simple.
No matter what I do, I got to see it.
Yeah, I love it.
So
Yeah.
basically, it just says, Lord, surround me with your love like a shield, or your favor like a shield.
Yeah.
Right.
Colin, I just have like few more questions and then we'll wrap it up in another 5 minutes. Okay.
Speed saying, let's go.
Yeah. Here, like you can give like a short phrase or like a few words, or if you want to explain it, go for it. Right. So these just like quick questions and fun ones, just to understand you a little bit better. I think we understand you. We love it. We already friends. So
Let's roll.
where's Brian? Okay, good.
He's
So
there.
if you could have any superpower, I just noted down. So if you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
Oh. Like eyesight, super. I don't know what you call it. The super, like the Superman eyes.
Oh, okay.
Reason
laser
being
eyes?
is just being able to.
laser eyes?
I want to be able to
Laser
have
eyes?
insight into situations immediately. Right?
Got it.
Oh, X-ray.
If your life had a theme song, what would it be?
Well, I got a feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. What's the most ridiculous fact you know is true?
If my mama had balls, she'd be my dad.
I did it.
You wanted to laugh.
Oh,
And it is a ridiculous fact.
that is a ridiculous
Yeah.
fact, but it would be true.
We have cheered you a lot, like we have praised you a lot. Let's get this on. What's something you're surprisingly super bad at? A lot of things.
A lot of things.
Nothing.
Yeah. Golfing.
You are?
Yeah. I can do it. I'm just not good at it.
That's great.
Got it.
Yeah. You know what? No, concentrating.
Ah,
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That
It's,
medication.
yeah. Me too. Well,
Like
what's
like a lot of things, but all at once.
Yeah.
Right.
What is? I mean, this is rather a different question. It's a serious question. Like, what's the personal fear that you overcome that made you a stronger person? Like, what is some personal fear that you had it and you did overcome it, and now you're super strong? And what is
Fear,
something like
yeah, simple. Fear of rejection. And when I was hired in the position of a retention salesperson, you no longer have a fear of rejection.
No.
I woke up
And
each and every day, and my outlook was dealing with very, very upset customers. That was it. That was my job. What do you get to do today?
God.
Meet a lot of pissed off people. Ah, looks good. Let's go.
Let's go.
Good.
And you overcame it how? And how did you overcome it?
Meeting with them and dealing with listening. Number one was listening to how can we make this better?
Got it.
Right.
Got it. If you have to leave one profound lesson for the future generation, or when you were like in your 20s or something, like what would you, how would you speak to them? What is that one lesson you want to share with the future generation?
Yeah, it's very, very basic, and it's the old chicken soup for the soul. Don't sweat the small stuff. It's all small stuff. It's very simple, but it's very, very true. When I was 30 to 40, things bothered me. I wanted to please people, and you have all read it. When I was 40 to 50, I thought I should be there. And when I'm now that I'm plus 50, I really don't care. Right? I think I've already reached these points where it's like, now it's just do it. Right?
I did it.
Yeah.
And I did. Right?
Yeah. No, lovely. Colin, where can people find you? I know, yeah, I can see you on LinkedIn. Where can people actually find you? What's the best place to find you?
Yeah, I would say LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. My name doesn't change. It's Colin with one L, and that's easy.
Yeah,
just
got it. And
hit me up. I'm always available, and I just want to laugh. That's all it is.
And is there a website people should go to, like hypervac.com or something like that?
Yeah, they could find me there. It's not too exciting though, unless you want to buy an air duct truck or something. Well,
He did it. He did it.
or you can,
Yeah.
you know what?
He did it.
I have a
You
new
gotta plug
website
it.
as of last week. It's southernalbertarealestate.ca.
There we go.
And I own the website because I can't believe it wasn't taken.
Can you please send me the link? I'll put
I
it
will.
on the podcast. Yeah.
Like, how does it's like HoustonRealEstate.com. Who would not have that? That would be gone, right? Oh, this one wasn't, so I bought it.
Wow.
And if you remember this, on our next, if we do another one, I'd like to talk
Yes, we will.
about a couple of other websites that have turned into businesses that I bought just on a whim, and
Yeah.
they're pretty fun.
Good.
Oh, absolutely. Brian, do you have any other questions? I was going to close.
No, close it up. We did it.
Close.
Dude, I'm going to say that all the time now. Oh,
What?
I did it.
I did.
I did.
Oh, I did.
Ah, I did it.
I did do a podcast
So here-
with Colin and
That's what
Brian
you got to
today.
do. Both of you on LinkedIn, send me your physical addresses and what size of shirt you wear, and you'll get a package in the mail.
Medium.
Medium.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Same. Yeah.
Oh, I'm large.
Send me your addresses. Seriously.
Yeah, I will. Thank you so much,
I'll
Colin.
hook you up.
Thanks.
Thank you, Colin. Colin, appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time. And I think it was beyond valuable, and I think it was
Okay.
extremely authentic. That's what I loved about it. From our first interaction,
Yeah.
it was extremely authentic,
Right.
and I think people can instantly, I think, connect with what you're saying, and I think you're speaking from the heart. You're speaking truth and facts. You're funny, and I think humor needs to come back a lot in society, and yeah, I mean, like I think what people should take away is it's having that energy like the 78-year-old man has, like yesterday from the dinner ball yesterday,
Yeah.
right? I think that's the kind of energy that people need to live through. I mean, don't take too seriously, right? I don't think you take yourself too seriously at all.
Oh, I don't.
I love that about you.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we will do a round two, definitely. So thank you so much, Colin. I really
Sounds
appreciate
good. Thanks, fellas.
Thank you.
All right.
it. Brian, see you, man. Thank you again. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye.